we're talking about FASTEEL Plus, which is different than FASTEEL 2.0. Hunter, why don't you talk about that a little bit? And you can give it to Jeff too if he needs to get into the nitty gritty of it.
Oh yeah, so FASTEEL Plus is the layered shot shell. 2.0 is based off of single shot. FASTEEL Plus, you get BBs 2s, 2s 4s, and 4s and 6s. And the unique thing about Plus isn't we slowed it down a touch from 2.0. 2.0, you're averaging about, in our 3 configurations, 1,500 feet per second. Slowed FASTEEL Plus down, and it we talked about keyholing a little bit earlier, but the smaller pellets draft off the larger pellets, and it really sucks the pattern in. So at 40 yards, you guys got to see it today, was just a tremendous pattern, no holes in it, and just covers all your bases from a duck hunting perspective.
Yeah, you could see it, and we'll have some clips on top of this video as well showing some of the different shots that we did. But it was pretty cool to see. I mean, they all patterned great, but when we saw that the 2s and 4s go against the pattern board, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's something what we set out to do was create the best patterning load we could. And at Kent, we've pushed the envelope in terms of velocity. We know how fast we can make a steel shot shell go and do it safely. We know where you start to see a diminishing return in your pattern with these velocity and payload combinations. And again, the goal was to create the most dense, meaning highest percentage of pellets in that 30-inch circle at 40 yards, and then the most uniform, so how evenly dispersed they were. And really, on its face, a standard shot size with what we produce gives you great patterns. But layering the 2 shot sizes, that suck those patterns in so much better. It's unbelievable. What's happening is the smaller pellets are drafting behind the air disturbances from the larger pellets and just sucking that pattern in, and it's creating a wall of steel. We're saying this is next level lethal, and for a steel shot shell it is.
Yeah. You're getting that you're getting more pellets, same energy. I mean, you're getting everything you want by layering, like, let's just say 2s and 4s. Say you're a guy or a girl that shoots 2s and you like to duck hunt and that's your thing. By doing the 2s and 4s, you still get that same knockdown power at the same range like we were doing 40 yards.
Yep.
But you're also maybe increasing your because you're getting more pellets in there. So
that's correct.
It's all around.
Yeah, what we're seeing is if when you're comparing to, say, the larger of the 2 shot sizes, you're getting increased pattern density or more pellets in your pattern, and at either a net zero trade-off in energy or a negligible decrease in energy. If you're comparing it to the larger or the smaller shot size, say like the number 4, you're getting a similar pattern density, but a nice increase in energy.
And you're doing it you guys are loading them by weight.
By weight.
Correct.
Yeah, that's correct. So our 2 and 4, that's the one we were shooting the most of and talking about today, has a total pellet count of 198 pellets. By weight, that's a 50-50 mix, gives you 78 number 2 pellets and 120 number 4 pellets.
Okay.
No. Do you know off the top of your head what a shot number 2 is by itself? What? I don't know.
Not off the top of my head. We'll have to look at our little cheat sheet.
Yeah, that's all right. But I mean, it's definitely a lot more. We talked about like the data that you guys did on all this. You did tons of testing on what you're actually going to get out of this mix load, and it seemed like the consistent thing was it was cool to see that your pellet count goes up, and you don't suffer a ton of payload, but when you go over to the pattern is what really really exploded. Like just the pellet count in that 30-inch circle that you guys like was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, what we did visually today for you, and Hunter can probably jump in a little bit, but there was a reason why we shot twos, threes, fours, and then shot our twos and fours after that. We were shooting non-shooting C's, so it gives a great visual representation. Twos were great. Threes were good. These were all acceptable, acceptable patterns. The fours, we're looking, man, that's a good pattern. And then we shot the twos and the fours, and it was about equal or maybe even a little better. And Patrick, I told you, I said, you saw that, you commented on how good that four was. There's an identical pattern, but it's got a whole bunch of number twos in there.
It's got some twos in there as well.
And that's the whole premise behind this. Is it's not just a whole bunch of fours. You're getting the energy of the twos in there, so that's giving you a nice jump in lethality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I've done old pattern testing in the past, you had an acronym for it on your stat sheet, but I looked for like these big gaping holes in the pattern, and that was when I didn't like the pattern. If I saw, and there were some times I would find a hole that was so big in the pattern a duck could fit through it, potentially, or the kill zone at least, and we weren't seeing that on the twos and fours pattern today. It was like perfectly spread out.
We sent, when we were developing this, and we've spent a fair number of years testing this and validating what we're seeing both with third parties and then in the field. But when we sent this off to be third party analyzed for its patterns, one of the data points it gave us was how uniform the pattern is. They've got a measurement that tells you, if there's any holes in the patterns, and that's really where we saw the data just jump out at us and say this is some of the most even, dense patterns that we've ever seen, and it was really impressive.
Yeah, and
the one thing I was looking at, I know we're talking about the 12 gauge. This will be in 20,
yes,
as well. So just we said the twos and fours and sixes. BBs and twos in the 12 gauge 3-inch, 1450 feet per second, 1 1/4 ounce load. And then in 20 gauge, you'll get twos and fours or 4s and 6 option, 3-inch, 1350 velocity
Yeah, so I've gotten to use this for probably the better side of the past 2 years. Anywhere from South Texas, Laguna Madre, Corpus Christi, all the way up to Harper's Ferry, hunting big honkers on the river. It's been twos and fours, not a problem for big late season geese. 4s and 6s, I mean, you can throw literally a steel wall at anything and knock it down out of the sky. It's been a blast to be able to use, and this is the first time that I've had the experience of a product launch, so kind of being behind the scenes while all this is going on has been awesome to do.